Rennie Good was a gifted soul, a writer and a poet and a mother, wow. She tried to hit an agent with her car, oh no! Pop, motherfucker, now she's gone! Yeah, yeah, yeah! Being a fucking liberal is a mental disease. Blue-haired and fuckables with the septum ring. You are not a hero, you're a fucking disease! You fuck around and find out it's what it is! Jeffrey Pretty was a Jewish homo. Started talking shit to protect a chomo. He was getting nicked when he pulled a gun. Bam, motherfucker, now you're gone! Yeah, yeah, yeah! Being a fucking liberal is a mental disease. Blue-haired and fuckables with a septum ring. You are not a hero, you're a fucking disease. Fuck around and find out what that is.
Hey guys, welcome to the program. Do me a favor, will you please? Will you please raise a finger and share this program? Like, share, follow, subscribe, and share this. Today's program, we're going to cover some of the news stories that you may have heard of or may need to know a little bit more about. By the way, today's program is brought to you by the fine folks at Goldco. Here's what I'm asking you to do. Please go to jovanlovesgold.com. Just request your free gold and silver kit today. It's absolutely free. You just got to fill out the form. You just got to lift a finger to do it, because now is the time to protect your money with gold and silver. You need to find out how this works. More importantly, you need to find out why you need to have gold and silver in your life, at least just a little part of it. This digital stuff's coming, folks. I've told you and I'm telling you. Mark my words, it's coming. So please go to jovanlovesgold.com. What I do with the fine folks I partner with at Goldco, please. Yes, please. And you know that little ditty at the beginning there, right? I've got another one, but real quick. You know, it's that time of the year. You need to start thinking about doing a garden. And by the way, the Food Forest Bible here, you know, it doesn't matter if it's 10 square feet. Right? Or 10 foot by 10 foot be 100 feet. It doesn't matter, folks. I posted some stuff over on my Substack, Survive the Crap. But you need to find out, and you need to reconnect yourself with how to plant your own food, have your own food. I'm not sure why people aren't moving faster to it. I'm more convinced now than ever that this has been a long-term plot to kill America. That's why we can have ingredients we can use here in America that aren't food. They sell them to us as food, but other countries won't allow. But why do they do it here? Because I think it's all been a plot to kill us all. You need to learn how to grow your own food. I'll just remind you, the Food Forest Bible, just in case. I'm going to grab them here real quick. Let me pull them over to me. They're so damn heavy because they're such big books. But I want to remind you of a few things. I focus on published books because I don't think people connect. If shit hits the fan, folks, and you don't have power and internet, how are you going to look up the stuff you saved? Right? So on the Food Forest Bible, by the way, make sure you get the right ones. People copy my work and sell you cheap knockoffs with bull crap in it, like, oh, here, plant a garden, be a vegan, all, you know, just stuff. So I'm not doing ebooks. Make sure you've got my name on it. I don't do ebooks, but that's why I do hardbound books, folks. And I also do hardbound full color books. I do that for a reason, right? I just do it for a reason, so you can see and identify everything. This is made to take out with you outside and do the work and look in it and understand it, etc. So don't get fooled by cheap knockoffs. This one's a whole different tactic. It's biblical. Plant it once. Plant it, then plant it one time. And then that garden, that food forest, will reproduce itself on its own. It can be done. The longest running ones, like 4,000 some odd years, feeding one village. We did the same thing with fruits. Again, hardbound books. Most people want fruit trees, but they don't want to wait, 4 or 5 years for it to produce. You can hack around that. Same thing. Full color, hardbound book. I hate paperbacks. I'm sorry. I have a few I've put out in paperbacks for you. The more simpler ones, smaller textbook style, but the same thing. Hardbound books. We've got several in the finish up stages. You're going to need to understand. I'm just telling you, you're going to need to reconnect with a lot of the old ways. If you haven't done it, find me on Amazon. People can complain about Amazon. Amazon bought up all the big color publishers and publishing is just completely changed to make it economical to get it to you, right? And so we do high-end books. This is just not something that you use to educate yourself. This is something that, you also sit around as a coffee table book and people can look at it and you can dream, right? It's picture driven for simple-minded people like me, right? So don't forget that, but don't get fooled by cheap imitations that don't have my name on them. And oh, by the way, I got one brand new song for you. You ready? You like the one, fuck around and find out. Here's a new one for you.
Deport the fucking lot. Deport the fucking lot.
Okay, so you got the chorus.
Deport the fucking lot. Deport the fucking lot. If they're men, send them back. We haven't got room, we can't keep track. Deport the fucking lot. Deport the fucking lot. Keep them off our shores, send them back to...
Deport the lot, L-O-T, European, British, for the group of them, the whole shooting match, the whole shebang, deport the lot.
Deport the fucking lot. Deport the fucking lot. If they're men, send them back. We haven't got room, we can't keep track. Deport the fucking lot. Deport the fucking lot. Keep them off our shores, send them back to fight their wars. Deport the fucking lot. Deport the fucking lot. They rape, they lie, them want to stay, but we don't agree with it, so send them all away. Deport the fucking lot. Deport the fucking lot. Deport the fucking lot. Deport the fucking lot.
Catchy tune. Although we have to agree, not as catchy as this.
Rennie Good was a gifted soul, a writer and a poet and a mother, wow. She tried to hit an agent with her car, oh no! Pop, motherfucker, now she's gone! Yeah! Being a fucking liberal is a mental disease.
Yeah, there's all kinds of good music out there. By the way, I predict in the UK, the new business is going to be tamed walking pigs on a leash. I think it'll happen. By the way, this whole thing about dogs in the UK, I think because dogs can see the soul of a person. And that's why they freak out. And I think evil knows that. That's why they want to get rid of dogs that are pure and can see that, just like babies, right? But it's like those two guys holding up that baby. Who do you love? And it's two gay guys, and it says, Mama. And, babies and dogs, pay attention. Anyway, did you know that supposedly the Muslim thing is if you have a dog, angels won't visit your home? No, Muslims won't visit your home, but they've changed it to angels and stuff, folks. Anyway, here's what we're going to do. We're going to talk about some of the news stories going on. And did you know that a bear ripped to shred a Rolls-Royce while a robot cop chased pigs, and Kash Patel throws the cuffs at those who rigged the 2020 election? Well, if you didn't know any of that, hang tight, share this program. We'll get started right after this.
Exposing the ancient secrets of royalty to grow giant fruit in small spaces. You won't believe how easy it is. Hey there, fellow gardeners. Have you heard about Jovan Hutton Pulitzer's new blockbuster book, Ancient Secret for Growing Giant Fruit in Small Spaces? It's taking Amazon by storm. This isn't just any gardening book. We're talking about ancient methods once reserved for kings and queens, now revealed to the world. Yes, you heard right. Royal secrets for your backyard. Struggling with limited space? No problem. This book teaches you groundbreaking techniques to grow enormous, luscious fruits, even in the smallest of spaces. Imagine tricking fruit trees to bear fruit in months, not years, and growing produce up to 100% larger than what you find in stores. Sounds like magic, right? Pulitzer dives deep into history, uncovering how nobility ensured bountiful harvests.
Not fixing 2020 will damn our nation forever. The historic Maricopa County full forensic audit effort processed 20,895,610 digital and forensic images of varying formats, resulted in 208 million individual evidence-proof files. The system processed over 58 billion forensic measurements, resulting in over 2 trillion individual base computations. No hopium, no hype, just hardcore forensic evidence. Please make sure the Maricopa County Full Forensic Audit Archives survive.
Warning. The following program has been rated Gilligaff and is intended for open-minded audiences. If the truth offends you, or if you are allergic to focused intensity, intellectual athleticism, or the occasional F-bomb or even irreverent humor, please switch off now. If your delicate sensibilities need to be worried about or addressed, might we recommend the Underwater Basket Weaving channel to you? Otherwise, sit back, enjoy the wisdom, insight, and wicked sense of humor.
Cut the crap. How many times a day do you want to say that to politicians? The elite, the loony liberals, the fake news media, and the gender-confused, emotional socialist snowflake crowd. Cut the crap is your secret weapon for fighting for our freedoms and our great republic. It all begins with a massive mental enema, freeing you from the toxic news and politically correct views, which constipate your consciousness with stinking thinking. Your host, Jovan Hutton Pulitzer. He's known for calling out politicians and telling them to cut the crap. You've seen him on virtually every television network and listened to him on Coast to Coast Radio. And now he's here to help you learn to fight for America. Culture, race, and American politics. They all have one thing in common. They all need to cut the crap. Now, here's your host, Jovan Hutton Pulitzer.
Okay, so there's some weird news out there, like a bear cut to shreds a Rolls-Royce and a cop that chased pigs, right? Or Kash Patel throwing the cuff at those rigged 2020 election. And we were just talking about dogs, right? And Muhammad. Think about this. If Muhammad was chosen by God to be the one true prophet to lead the world, why didn't the God protect him against dogs and made Muhammad afraid of dogs? Kind of doesn't make sense, does it? But I'm telling you, it's just like babies and dogs, right? They know a good person when they see them. And Muhammad, obviously wasn't one of those people, and so they passed it down. That's why some of this crap's going on. So yes, these are true news story, right? And you remember was it Minnesota, where we had the Somali Learning Center, not the Learning Center, but the Learning Center, right? Well, supposedly, some of those people from the Learning Center split town with their fancy cars and then decided to get an insurance payback for their cars. And so they took all the skills they learned at the Learning Center. Well, You watch.
A bizarre case of insurance fraud in California.
4 people are under arrest after claiming a bear damaged their luxury car. They even showed the insurance company video of said bear inside their cars, including a Rolls-Royce and a Mercedes.
But wildlife experts said evidence showed it was clearly a person in a bear costume. The suspects are being charged with $140,000 in insurance fraud.
Bigfoot ate my lunch. I mean, you can look at the video. I mean, come on. Let me see. I'm going to try something here real quick. Bear with me. It's only kind of spur of the moment, but I'm going to see if I can do it. Can I do that up there? Let's see. Hang on. Am I able to do? There it is. Hold on. Bear with me. Let me see if I can get it up on my screen. Why is it not letting me? Oh, come on. No, it's not letting me zoom up on my screen. It's not hard. I mean, you can tell this is somebody. They could have just wore pajamas and a mask, and it might have been better than this crap.
A bizarre case of insurance fraud in California.
4 people are under arrest after claiming a bear damaged their luxury car. They even showed the insurance company video of said bear inside their cars, including a Rolls-Royce and a Mercedes.
But wildlife experts said evidence showed it was clearly a person in a bear costume. The suspects are being charged with $140,000 in insurance fraud.
That's what you get when you go get educated at the Leering Center. But you could be educated worse. It could be worse for you. Well, not for you. It could be worse for your kids. Because those wild beasts are still out there, and this is not a joke.
I'm an elementary school teacher, and I work to make all of my students become transgender. As an educator...
What?
I'm an elementary school teacher, and I work to make all of my students become transgender. As an educator...
Say that again. I want to make sure I understand. You do what?
I'm an elementary school teacher, and I work to make all of my students become transgender. As
Rennie Good was a gifted soul, a writer and a poet and a mother, wow. She tried to hit an agent with her car, oh no! Pop, motherfucker, now she's gone! Yeah!
I'm an elementary school teacher, and I work to make all of my students become transgender. As an educator, it is my responsibility to form the next generation of world leaders, and I believe that the future of our world rests in the hands of trans youth. At the beginning of every morning, we recite our Down with the System pledge, study trans history, and practice using pronouns that are different than the ones that were assigned to us at birth. If any student ever misgenders another student or refers to themselves as cisgender, they are held back from recess and given additional transgender lessons.
This has got to be a joke, right? But when I look at it, it's serious, and it's in a classroom.
I'm an elementary school teacher, and I work to make all of my students become transgender. As an educator, it is my responsibility to form the next generation of world leaders, and I believe that the future of our world rests in the hands of trans youth. At the beginning of every morning, we recite our Down with the System pledge, study trans history, and practice using pronouns that are different than the ones that were assigned to us at birth. If any student ever misgenders another student or refers to themselves as cisgender, they are held back from recess and given additional transgender lessons.
By the way, I'm going to play you a little longer clip about protecting your kids, but I think this is a little educational piece that goes in line with this about protecting your kids. Pay attention. This is an instructable.
I have a 10-year-old who doesn't understand the risks behind social media, so I just wanted to show her something. So tell me where I am, Jose Monkey.
Okay, I hope your 10-year-old is watching. So what can we see? This video was recorded in selfie mode, so the first thing I did was flip it horizontally. One of the first things I noticed is that there's a CVS directly behind Mom at the beginning of the video. And behind the CVS, we can see a water tower. As Mom turns the camera, we can see that there's a parking lot here and also a building that looks like an apartment or hotel. After that, we briefly catch a glimpse of some other people in the background and a small garage.
Well, evidently Facebook just booted me, so expect Instagram to go down for showing that transgender teacher. Yeah, they just booted it. Anyway, so that's why you always, folks, that's why I always tell you, when I come out with the truth, make sure you've got a bottom line. Bottom line is Rumble, rumble.com/Jovan Hutton Pulitzer is where you need to pay attention. But when I cover things that go directly to the heart of the matter, boom, there you go. They start shutting down the feed. So since Facebook went, Instagram will probably be next. Right? That was about kids, forcing them to be transgender. I show it to you. We talk about it. Boom, it's over. So just kind of pay attention. And this is why you always need to click that subscribe and follow. Probably by the person that just gave me the thumbs down. It's okay. Was that your video? Geez, come on. Let's talk about it. Anyway, this little video I'm going to show you about, you need to know about your kids. This is part of how forensics works. I will not interrupt it. This is how forensics works. Forensics and forensic research apply to everything in life, just like we did for the audit. Forensics are the only thing that end up being irrefutable, but you've got to use the scientific method and the forensics to do it. And you don't do anything fractal or what was it called? A quadrunal, quadriplegic, fractal, pterodactyl thing. It doesn't have anything to do with that. You either understand it or you don't. It's either proof or not. Watch this one in focus. No humor involved, but watch.
I have a 10-year-old who doesn't understand the risk behind social media, so I just wanted to show her something. So tell me where I am, Jose Monkey.
Okay, I hope your 10-year-old is watching. So what can we see? This video was recorded in selfie mode, so the first thing I did was flip it horizontally. One of the first things I noticed is that there's a CVS directly behind Mom at the beginning of the video. And behind the CVS, we can see a water tower. As Mom turns the camera, we can see that there's a parking lot here and also a building that looks like an apartment or hotel. After that, we briefly catch a glimpse of some other people in the background and a small garage or shed here. And we can see just a glimpse of something blue, which might be a dumpster. Mom turns the camera back in the other direction and we can see that there's a Wendy's here. I also made note of the sun and shadows to help figure out directions. We can see that the sun appears to be setting in the direction of the motel or apartments, so that's probably west. And when Mom turns around and is facing the sun, her shadow is pointing in the direction that is likely east. Based on that information, I tried to sketch a map of what this place would look like from above, so I'd have a better shot at recognizing it on the map. We've got a compass that tells me which way is north. Mom is standing about here. We've got all the buildings here, including the Wendy's and the CVS. I also made a note of the fact that the road that we see here appears to run kind of northwest to southeast. Okay, so that's probably what it looked like, but where the heck was it? Based on the fact that everybody in the video is wearing shorts and flip-flops, it seems like it's someplace warm. And I'm not great at recognizing accents, but I was pretty sure that this was probably someplace in the southeast based on Mom's accent. So how was I going to find this place? I recently told you guys about how I've been learning about doing data mining against the OpenStreetMap geographic database. It's like searching for things on Google Maps, but instead of doing it manually, you write code to do it. I figured I could use an approach much like I used in episode 186 recently. In that episode, I was searching for Rite Aid locations that were very close to Family Dollar locations. I could apply the same idea here, looking for CVS locations that were close to Wendy's. But I figured I could do better than that, because I could also search for the water tower that we see. I figured if I could find CVS locations, then filter that list to ones that were close to water towers, say 500 meters. Then I could filter that further to only the locations that were also close to Wendy's locations, say 250 or 300 meters. With that approach in mind, I sat down and wrote the queries that I needed. This is the part where I should insert like a Hollywood-style hacking sequence. I'm in. Okay, so without any good leads to tell me what state this was, I just searched the entire southeast. I played around with the proximity values until I got a list of candidate locations. There were 24 of them. I figured I'd just look at each one and compare it to my crude map and see if any of them matched. I had only looked at a few locations when I saw this one. We had a Wendy's and a CVS in the right relative positions. The road ran kind of northwest to southeast. And the shape of the other building here looked like it was right. But where was the water tower? I had to zoom out a bit to find it, but it was exactly where I expected to find it, a bit north and west of CVS. Time to check the Google Street View. And guys, that was it. You're standing on the grass near the parking lot of the Jameson Inn in Winder, Georgia. Google Street View confirmed all the landmarks. We had the CVS and the water tower. We had the building, which was a hotel, and the garage. And we could even see that dumpster that we could just barely see in your video. We can see the Wendy's that we see in your video. And based on the clues, I was able to figure out that Mom was probably standing right about here on the grass at the edge of the parking lot. Guys, my goal is not to scare anyone, but I do hope that these videos help you to understand some of the risks of posting things online. Please use really good judgment when you post photos and videos. And kids, listen to your parents. Please like this video if you enjoyed it, and share it with other parents who might want to show it to their kids. Go to my site if you want to check out the map of all the places I found for people so far from the videos that they've tagged me in. And if anybody else would like me to figure out where one of their videos was recorded, record a video where you say, "Find me, Jose Monkey," or something like that on camera, or hold up a sign that says something similar. And don't forget to tag me in a comment on that video.
Is that pretty awesome? What that is a skill set, but that's what can be done with forensics, and that's what forensics is all about. That's what we did in the elections. You have the election. That's the thing. That's like the woman there, but you're looking around it to really understand what it was. By the way, everybody's doing the 420 birthday. Thank you so very much. Peaches, I appreciate it. It all goes towards election integrity. Thank you so much for such a generous tip to the program. Mr. Hader, thank you. I guess the goal is to reach 420. All right. Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. Isn't that a pretty scary little piece to know? Many people do not think about that. Predators use this, etc. You could literally find everything you need to know about where somebody posts. And you don't have to have super secret programs to do it. It's just the way it is. Now, if we could just take some of that forensic skill and find where all the money is being robbed from us.
What is the response to Democrats arguing that this rooting out of fraud, that it's cutting Medicaid services? What is your response to that?
None at all. They know it's manufactured. That's why when they say this sort of, like sheepishly mention the possibility that you might once in a while hurt someone that's innocent. I argue that if you take a child with autism and you give them the services they need, you're doing a great service. It's the right thing to do. We're great people. We'll always help folks in need. But if every mother is pretending, because they're getting paid, that the children in the neighborhood have autism, which is bad for those kids, by the way.
And you're seeing that.
And we're seeing that in Minnesota. You take a budget from $3 million to $400 million. You do that by creating programs and manufacturing services that aren't supposed to be used. But what you're doing is you're hurting the child who really has autism because they can't get access to services, and you're corrupting the entire system. We're seeing the same thing in California with hospice, where you have 1/3 of all the hospices, Katie, in the entire country are in Los Angeles, not California, just LA. I mean, how many people are dying there?
Yeah.
Right. So you obviously have allowed
a little bit of a red flag.
And I'll make this announcement at your show. We have stopped payments to 450 hospices in California. Guess what? Not one has called us asking to reinstitute them.
Wow.
They may change their minds over time, but in 10 weeks, we've shut down 450 payment systems to these guys. That's representing at least $600–700 million just this year, and no one's complaining.
Now, don't you think if you relied on that money for running your business, that all of a sudden it's been a couple of months and you don't get your checks, that you'd be calling to say, where's our checks? But nobody's calling. The reason nobody's calling is not only because it's a racket. They understand that calling to try to retrieve it would be a further admission of guilt. Besides the fact that it's all deposited, it's very easy to track this stuff down. Finally, the government's working on it. And what we have to do is we have to fight all of this with facts, with clear heads, with knowledge. That's why I tell you everything is about education. It's not about headlines. And in fact, a lot of social media now is no better than remember the Weekly World News or the Inquirer. All you're doing is getting a damn digital version of it, right? Train wreck, here it is. It's got to have solutions. And that's why I'm a serious proponent of facts, so you can actually argue it right, because you don't know how to defend yourself against the system if, in fact, you don't understand how the system does it to you. This is an argument that will sound racist on its face until he delivers the bullet point, and then it's just power logic. Here is the way we have to debate with kids' that minds have been melted, or liberals, which are melted kids' minds.
It's good for America to be mostly white. It's been mostly white for its entire history. And if you don't believe that, do you believe that it's good for Japan to be mostly Japanese? Or would it be good if a bunch of white people moved to Japan and said, you know what, we're going to fight for our own rights here, and in fact, we should replace the Japanese culture. I mean, they're going extinct anyway, right? They're not reproducing at a rate that's a replacement rate. So let's go in there and let's replace the Japanese. Isn't that a good thing? No. All the libs would scream, that is racist. Why? Because they hate whiteness. Why do they hate whiteness, though? Why do they hate whiteness? Because of Christendom. Because the European continent was shaped and molded by Christendom for longer than any other place. So, like, that's what Christendom is. It was generally an Anglo-European project that then exported civilization out to the rest of the world. And they hate that. They absolutely hate that. Great replacement's happening. We shouldn't celebrate it. It's not good. It's
told you that the true battle that you see in every single thing, white supremacy, transgenderism, all this other crap, is only about killing Christendom. I've told you that. That's why I've told you this is a war against good and evil. That's why I tell you when they promote kids that you can cut off a little boy's wanker and poof, he's a girl, or a little girl cut off her boobies, poof, she's a boy. It's all about replacing God. This is why the Muslim thing's being important. It is all about killing God, killing faith. And that's why this is good versus evil. It's the same thing, right? It's the same thing in election integrity. Completely stay away from the truth. Completely stay away from the truth. And then the system amplifies people that have nothing to do with it, have never found the truth, have been the ones that, well, did the most destruction, and that's what gets promoted. You have to understand the formula is exactly the same. Kill elections, you'll kill God. Kill little boys and girls and play like man can change their sexes, you kill God. Bring in Islam, you kill God. You have to understand it is all the same system. It is all the same methodology. It is all the same crap going on. But I'm telling you, just like I told you in elections, all of this is about people, paper, and programs, not machines. Never has been, never will be. Machines are what let the system off the hook. And you think good things are going on. You got to get right down to the people, the programs, the paper. It's just like somebody, I think Scott Kloss, our buddy here, family in here, said, look, I remember a cable buddy of mine told me that if somebody was stealing cable, they'd just shut it off. Or if they wanted to find the people that really didn't have accounts, shut off the cable, and people would be called and scream it, turn back on, and they really didn't have a legit connection. People, paper, and programs. It has always been, doesn't matter what it is. And yes, you've watched this war go on. It's the machines. Oh, don't do the voter rolls when it's everything about people, paper, programs, and the voter rolls.
Joining me now in this Sunday Morning Futures exclusive is the U.S. Assistant Attorney General for Civil Rights, Harmeet Dillon. And Harmeet, it's wonderful to have you this morning. We appreciate your time. I want to get your take on who really was behind that impeachment process for President Trump. But even more important, give us your sense of what you just heard me talk with Kash Patel about, and that is the failure of any accountability. Our audience knows exactly what happened with the Russia collusion story. No one has been held accountable. Why not?
Well, Maria, thanks for having me this morning. And I heard Kash's remarks. I agree with them. And, you know, your folks need to understand that when we start these investigations, it takes time. We have to interview a lot of witnesses. We don't want to do what the other side did, which is just jump to conclusions. And so we're building strong cases. And I think your viewers are probably familiar with the fact that some of the judges out there, particularly judges appointed more recently, have been, doing their own form of lawfare by simply denying the Trump administration's valid cases in court on numerous different cases. And so we've experienced that at the Department of Justice. And so we're trying different tacks. We're putting teams together. I'm personally involved in some of the issues that we've talked about. like Kash, I can't talk about things prematurely before they come to a grand jury or before we're able to announce them. But I can assure you that the whole Department of Justice is very committed to this. And Acting Attorney General Todd Blanche is continuing the work started under the Attorney General Pam Bondi. And we will have news in the very near future on these issues. And there's so many issues, Maria, like you just mentioned, the Atkinson situation. I mean, we just saw the news come out in the last couple of days about the CIA's weaponization of the government and intelligence officials to concoct a fake narrative regarding the Hunter Biden laptop and sign on and lie to the American people. And they did that, many of them, on the government dime. And so there are some serious violations that may come out of that as well.
But do you feel that there, is pressure to get all of this done, for example, before the midterm elections? I mean, if the Republicans lose seats in the House, will these investigations get derailed?
I don't think so, Maria. So first of all, I mean, the election is important, of course, to all Americans, but we're going to continue our work regardless. I mean, the president has a 4-year mandate. The elections are not going to affect the dedication of the lawyers at the Department of Justice to see this through. We have a duty to do that. And frankly, if we don't do it, the American people are going to lose confidence in our elections. And that's very important to me as a civil rights lawyer who's in charge of the Voting Rights Act and all the voting issues in our country. If we don't have free and fair elections, including elections that are free from this kind of manipulation, weaponization, lying, cheating, and stealing that we have seen evidence of, I think it's very bad for our country. And I personally am here to make sure that we don't have that outcome. And all our colleagues who are political appointees at the DOJ at the high level are committed to it as well. Now, there are many cases where we've had lawyers burrowed in at the DOJ and in other agencies as well who are not with the team and, in fact, who participated in some of the bad acts in prior administrations. So part of what we've been doing this past year is house cleaning, and we've been doing that in a number of different ways. And I'm happy to share with you some of the things we found in house cleaning. At the DOJ, people have been burrowed in there for decades, doing political partisanship, and that's just not what we're supposed to be doing at the DOJ.
So what specific facts have you found? You just said there was lying and cheating. What can you tell us in terms of verifying that information? And I know you've been trying to go state by state to clean up voter rolls. What are you doing in that regard?
Yeah, so let's talk about that. We have a comprehensive effort. I've requested the voter rolls from all states in the District of Columbia. About a third of the states have voluntarily complied with us or reached settlements with us, and we've run some of those records, so I'll talk about that in a minute. I'm suing 29 states and the District of Columbia for their refusal to give us the voter rolls, to which the Attorney General or the Acting Attorney General is entitled under the Civil Rights Act of 1960. We're doing that to make sure that states are in compliance, and guess what? States are not in compliance, even those ones who want to. So for the ones that we've run so far, 60 million records that we've run, we found at least 350,000 dead people currently on the voter rolls in those jurisdictions. And we've referred approximately 25,000 people with no citizenship records to the to Homeland Security to look at dig into that further and see the extent to which people voted. I'm in touch with voting rights activists who are showing me information about people who have voted who are not American citizens. And so the left told us this never happens and it's a myth. It definitely happened. Just recently, someone was indicted in Minnesota, of all places, for voting without being a citizen. And so I've sent a document request to them on that. Minnesota has a weird vouching law that allows citizens to vouch for each other's citizenship. That's crazy and inconsistent with the Help America Vote Act. And we're not going to rest until we complete this project. Now, Maria, your audience would like to know perhaps that 5 states have actually had federal judges rule against us in this very simple request to get the voter rolls. This is such a basic voting hygiene concept in the Ninth Circuit, in the Sixth Circuit in Michigan, and just recently Rhode Island last week. And so we're expediting the appeals in these cases. There'll be an appeal in the Ninth Circuit and the Sixth Circuit soon.
Yeah. Harmeet, you are doing incredibly.
I look at this, and here we sit. All this time, they've got Kamala, they have raised her up. They have raised her through the roof. Over 75 million, right? 75 million votes to make her look legitimate. And this has all happened under radar, as we've all said here. When you look at what the president is actually focusing on, which is the truth, I'm just shocked that people aren't paying attention. It befuddles me. It befuddles me that, and maybe it's because, right? Maybe it's because, is it just, will good TV marketing just wash your brain? Does it really work if somebody dangles a cross or quotes Bible, but their advice is just totally stuffed? Does it really work? By the way, every one of you giving tips to today's program, all of it goes to election integrity, by the way. And so God bless you, every one of you, for doing this. But when I think about this, and when I think about the common sense and what this battle has been for over 5 years, and they put it right in front of our face, this is what they're doing, is trying to go back and validate that Biden's votes were legit by adding Kamala. She's at 75 million votes, okay? That's 7 million more votes. They've quote unquote validated by another election 7 million bad votes. This was exactly the strategy session I had with President Trump. Here's what it is. Here's how it happens. But the subterfuge is so, am I doing a Candace there? So horrible. We're blessed, by the way. We're blessed that President Trump really understands and can embrace forensics and what's true and understands where we have to focus.
So with all of that, I'm very happy to be signing the voter integrity, and I think it's going to be really great. So if you don't mind, I will take some time and I'll make this signature absolutely perfect. So it looks very good. So far, so good. Okay, so that's a big deal. Very proud of it. And I don't know how it can be challenged. You'll probably challenge it. You may find a rogue judge. You get a lot of rogue judges, very bad people, very bad judges. But that's the only way that can be changed, and hopefully we'll win an appeal if it is. But I don't see how anybody can challenge it. I don't see how they can challenge it. And remember, it's about voter integrity. We want to have honest voting in our country, because if you don't have honest voting, you can't have really a nation, if you want to know the truth. Howard, I'll give that to you. Do you have any questions, please?
Yes.
And I think sometimes people don't understand how bad this fight. President Trump knows. He knows exactly what the deal is. He knows exactly how this happens, what it is, why he wants to get rid of mail-in ballots, why they're focusing on the paper, focusing on the voter rolls, just like Harmeet said, right? They looked at voter rolls. They've already identified 350,000. That's just in the dead people. You remember when we did that and we showed people that? And even Bernabich out in Arizona, oh, that's not true. We don't have that. That's crap. It's all a racket. But the reason this is warfare is because I can sit with President Trump eyeball to eyeball half of the discussion, behind his desk with him over his shoulder in the second half of the discussion. Here's what we need to do. Get rid of the voter rolls. Here's how we do it. And have somebody in the office say, well, we're told we can't do that. Of course, I stopped the meeting. I said, think about this. I stopped a meeting with the President of the United States to turn around and talk to Secretary Kennedy and go, what in the hell do you mean? Who even told you that you can't do it? And she said, well, we're just told they'll put them right back on. Luckily, you see, the focus is on the things that work. But this battle is so bad. It's not about the left. The right, here's Mike Lindell funded right that's going to, his people put on the road hundreds of cities. He funded it. Well, no, I take that back. You funded it. You funded putting hundreds and hundreds of experts on the road, or excuse me, hundreds of times, one 900 times, one 500 times. You paid for that. You donated for that and paid for that for them to go out and give this advice to lawmakers.
So you have a centralized statewide voter roll that's on networked machines, servers. It has a public-facing internet interface. That's it. That's all I need to know that
I lived through it and the media came at me then.
I want to put one thing on. Somebody's saying, well, they cleaned up, but then Michigan put them on. Let me explain what that is. And I'm going to read the quote. Some states managed to get them cleaned up, and now the state of Michigan is putting those removed ones back on the rolls. Let me tell you why that's what you want. I'll show you this video clip in a minute. When you dictate that they have to be cleaned, and you do it operationally and forensically, and you force them to do it, basically what you get is a restart. Because right now, if you found 10 million bad ones, there's probably 30 million bad ones there, but let's say you found 10 million bad ones, you don't know who did it. You understand that? Everybody will point fingers and go, well, I don't know where that came from. Oh my God, it must be an old list. For them to clean them and then put them right back is a gift. Let me tell you why it's a gift. What's the one thing they have to prove when it goes to court? It's that little bitty word of intent. Basically, when they put them back in, you've nailed their ass to the wall. But if Mike Lindell and these guys sent everybody around to hundreds and hundreds of cities, and they don't even explain the basic concept, and they're supposed to be tech guys from the military. I was in the military, and I was this and that, and I got a colonel rank in this. It's horseshit. It's all racket. Because, see, if you did it right, you purged the system, you changed the protocol to put them in, then when they stick them back in, you know what you get? Who did it? You don't only get intent, you get who did it. But the con with hundreds in cities, and you can get pissed at me, it's totally fine. I can even say this and say, I like Mike Lindell and he's done great. He tanked the country while he was at it, but he's great. It was all a con. But I can still say I like it. But look, when in fact you clean them and you do it right with the right protocol and they put them back in, you've nailed their ass. But this is the kind of war it is. And this is what your money, because you donated to the Lindell Fund. I'm Mike Lindell. You're not fund. I have a lot of pillows, make a lot of money, but I want your fund. The Lindell will fix everything fund. The I'm Lindell, let's pray together and fund me fund. You paid for this right here.
So you have a centralized statewide voter roll that's on networked machines, servers. It has a public-facing internet interface. That's it. That's all I need to know that it's blown. That's a centralized statewide voter roll that was mandated by Help America Vote Act. They have these all over the country. And it's not just that you have a public-facing internet interface to it, but multiple organizations have what's called an API, or an application programming interface. In other words, a machine-to-machine interface into that voter roll. And I'm telling you this because when people say, well, we have to clean up the voter rolls, it's true that they're not following the law. It's true that they're not in good faith maintaining them in accordance with Title 52 that requires that the voter rolls be both secure and accurate. That's a requirement imposed on the secretaries of state who've received the Help America Voting Act and CARES Act funding to maintain those voting systems. What nobody's going to tell you, but I'm going to tell you, is you cannot clean those rolls. You're sweeping a dirt floor.
Tell you how bad this is. First administration Trump, last few weeks of the year, I told everybody, do not go to January 6th. It was a setup. Audit me. Go back, look at my stuff. I told you, do not set foot In D.C., no matter how much you love President Trump, it's a trap. Audit me. In those end days, I'm trying to get President Trump, because I know where the fight's going to come. You've got to codify U.S. Code 42-1964, U.S. Code 52-19, 1970, 20-701. You've got to codify these things because we're going to need the paper. The legal team in the White House, Cipollone, told President Trump, well, you can't do that. That's illegal because you'll see who the voters are, when that's just a lie. And I never got that done. I could have got it done. Come back again, headed to the second administration, the battle coming forward. I'm sitting there, and in the office, once again, here it is. We got to get rid of the voter rolls. And in that office, to have President Trump, second command, controls everything, saying, well, we've been told that's, just don't do it. They'll just put them right back on. Well, because nobody paid attention. You know, you see these votes right here, taking Kamala up another 8. We would have known every one of those. Isaac, I will not accept a video from Facebook of somebody telling me something else you told in my chat. If you want to share it, come on, Isaac. If you want to share it, come on. I just want you to explain it to me. You gave me a concept I've never heard. Just share it with us. I want to hear what you're saying. I just never heard it. And so don't share a video. I don't want to see somebody else's video. I want to get your understanding of it. And the reason I want to get your understanding of it, to find out if it's worth our time, I'll dive into it and see what it is. Anyway, so sitting there, the same thing occurred. Same thing. Well, we're told we can't do it. That's what conservative money funded. Hundreds of cities canvassed this nation. All of them telling them, I do it for free, and I didn't do this, and I don't do this, and I don't get paid, and I don't this. Could you do a 10-city tour and not get your fees and everything paid to do it? I mean, could you fund that? How does somebody fund a 900-city tour or 500-city tour for another one? How's that get funded? Yeah, by you. And here we sit. But you know this little crap of adding on for Harris, all these numbers? You know what we would have had if it would have been done? We would have known every place. If we'd have done this then and made the switch, we would know every single place they're coming from. And boom, when they started coming in, boom, you enact the raid and go. But that's what the system kept you away from. We're going to melt them all in prison bars. I try to figure out, why does nobody see this? I can tell you why most podcasters, look, you can audit me. When you see Mike Lindell go on to Bannon, Mike Lindell is basically paying to be there. Why? The average order for Mike Lindell is about $200. What you don't understand is when Mike goes on to Bannon and that prompts people to buy, Bannon gets almost 50% of that. So you paid Bannon $100 to have Mike there. You don't even know that. You don't even know that. So when you see MyPillow ads and you see them run, the reason you have the promo code, I had it. I was supporting my promo code Jovan. We don't get Bannon thing, but we get a little commission to help the programs along. Right? When I started to question Mike a few years ago, what did I do? Tell me in chat, what did I do? Anybody know what I did? And I supported Mike for a very long time. But when I notice he won't listen to emails, he won't pull these people back, he won't stop this crap, he's promoting people he shouldn't promote. And I guess one time maybe we saw $1,000 check from promoting pillows, but what did I do? I haven't had Mike on my program. Mike won't come on because he knows I got hard. I'd be very hard on it. But what did I do? I never ran another ad. I never did another promo. I never did another read. No matter how much could be done. Even if a podcaster could do a grand a month, that's 12 grand a year. For a lot of people, that could be good money. I just stopped because the money is not worth it if you're leading a country astray. I loved him, but I left him because I could not agree to that system. Most people can't make that decision. So a podcaster they're gonna, I got a $500 check for my pillow this month. It's great. Look, I'm making money. They can't separate ethics from that. And isn't that the same thing that happens in government and whatever, or what you want? That's kind of what this is. Mike's sales exploded. You don't even understand it. You know why you don't even understand it? 2,000 podcasters adopted, more than 2,000 podcasters adopted, where you do a promo code. Now that's 2,000. Then you have to combine whether they broadcast every day, how many people they have. All of that's free advertising for Mike, 100% free. He used to have to buy it. It went 100% free. More points of light than you can imagine. And so you take a sale, here's your sale, half of it being your cost of marketing, and you make half. All they did is took him out of retail, which he was selling at half less half, so he's selling back here, put it on, everybody does the sales, he gives a little bit. Well, instead of making this much of this much, now he's making this much of this much. And nobody ever understands that. And he got a network out of it and got an IPO out of it. But you can't audit anything done. This is my issue with all of this. We've always known where it was, but you're fighting a very well-oiled system. I would have this discussion with Mike. I would. I'd have simple discussions. Like I have discussions. You have Bannon, who won't talk to me. Okay, you did the PCAPs. You're the one that promoted PCAPs. All the stuff for Mike. You knew they were fake. Here it is, but you continue to have one. Why do you do that, Bannon? Isn't this the same junk as all these bad officials running for office and getting? I'm telling you what, I don't want a fucktard official for a Republican or an independent or a greenie or even a Dem. I don't want any of them. I want the ones that are there to work for the people. And frankly, I think the ones that are on the right that tell you they're a patriot and they're not, and about the money, I think they're even worse than the left, because at least the left has the balls to tell you, I'm going to screw your kids and burn down your buildings. At least they're telling you what they're going to do. But the fucking people that say, I'm here to save you, we're going to melt them down to prison bars, and they parade their experts. Think about this. There's several things they covered. Ready? Every single Mike Lindell expert on the road promoted the same thing. We have the plan and the fix. It's the machines. Only focus on the machines. We are the experts, and do not listen to Jovan. We peer review his work, and it's crap. That's the 5-point message of every one of those meetings. Why do you put and do hundreds of road shows and all have that same message? How can many of us behind the scenes have these conversations with Mike and say, Mike, you better shut this shit down? Nothing's done. Nothing. But see, this is where people don't, right, understand the leverage, the play, the influence. That's why we beating our heads against the wall. We're not just fighting the left, we're fighting the right. You can sit here and look at absolute physical evidence that all of it was a sham. But what you don't understand is all they did was propped up their people in that one county. And the only thing they had to do is say, well, that's not real. They didn't do an audit. They didn't really turn in that information. That's it. That's all they do. And then when they see on this tour and stuff, they want to be hailed as a rock star. Why? Because they'll hook their wagon to it. Now we're going to do a 10-road tour in your state. Come on. Nobody went rogue. Everybody played a system. I have problems with this. And I have problems with it that we're in the battle for our life. And here we are. And the president can even sign orders. And they still promote people to, oh, it's the machines, it's this. No, well, it's China. Well, it's Italy. Well, we got new news, it's Australia. What is it really?
I lived through it and the media came at me then too. That just shows you that when you're over the target, you keep pummeling the target because the media is going to try and pummel you. We are not going to take this and have not taken this laying down. We did already indict former Director Comey, and that's going through the judicial process. But we also at this FBI, even though we uncovered what we uncovered back in the House Intel days, I had to come in here and find rooms that they hid from the world. I had to come in here and find access on our computer systems in restricted and prohibited case files that they purposely put in places for no one to see and find. We have found all this information. We are working with our Department of Justice partners, and I am never going to let this go because they not only have personally attacked the presidency of the United States and President Trump, but they tried to thwart our elections and rig the entire system. And that is not something that is going to stop. That is not something I'm going to allow on my watch. Right. But you just have to remember, they built this disease temple over 20 and 30 years. We've got all the evidence. I can announce on your show that we've got all the information we need. We're working with our prosecutors at the Department of Justice and their Attorney General Todd Blanche, and we are going to be making arrests. And it's coming, and I promise you, it's coming soon.
Well, Kash, hold on, because when you started this interview, you said, Maria, you and I have been working together for a long time, and this is exactly what you were referring to. You were on my show repeatedly talking about the Russia collusion story, and our audience wants to know why there's never any accountability. But specifically, the question that I asked you was about election integrity and whether or not you have any information to verify what President Trump says all the time, which is the election was rigged.
I'm going to find a quote for you here. Let me just pull it in my screen and I'll explain how this works. Is that okay? Okay. Let me explain how it works. This may help you connect some of this dots. Okay. If you had 2,000 podcasters out there. Now I come out of being on TV and stuff for so long. You can go back to me, find out about my career. It started 15 years old, right? I'm in my 60s, folks. You've known me for a very long time. But let's say all of a sudden somebody's at a Taco Bell or a lumberjack or whatever, and I'm going to get in talk and blah, 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 right? And all of a sudden you start selling pillows and you're getting your commission. We'll call it 10%, whatever the case may be. And all of a sudden you get a $500 check. And it just comes in the mail. You're kind of going, wow, I must be good. People must like me. And why is it? Because you sat down at your camera, you spilled your heart out, right? And all of a sudden you're getting a $500 check of found money you never had. So you got $6,000 more in your pocket each year. All of a sudden, over time, now you're getting $1,000. Well, lo and behold, that $1,000 does what for an average podcaster? It now pays their mortgage. You have to understand how this works. It pays their mortgage. So somebody that comes out of nowhere goes, wow, if I just sit down and talk about this and I'm promoting pillows, it pays my mortgage. Now, let me ask you a question. What are they going to make sure continues to happen? They're going to make sure that they do whatever it takes to keep on paying their mortgage. What would you do? Somebody's coming along, oh, I just like you. I want to pay your mortgage every month forever. Get it? They're going to do what it takes to pay their mortgage. Okay? That's it. And yes, this is economic and electronic warfare. Right? And these people are basically paid to talk about things they don't even know about. But what it is they want the association. I want him on my program, and America loves him, and I want to talk and support him because then they'll love me too and know I'm like on the right team. Now, how many of those people will actually go, I know this was paying my mortgage, but I can no longer agree with this, so I can't do it? How many people would normally do that? Very few. Very few. You understand that, right? Very few. Now, if you ask those people, are you a patriot? Are you hurting America? They would say, of course I'm a patriot. We got to get these rat bastards out. But what they don't realize is they're smothering a nation. Why are they smothering a nation? Because technically they're bought and paid for. Now, do you see where you can take an innocent person, and yes, they're great pillows. You can take an innocent person. Hey, you can make money with your program. We do it with all patriots. Here it is, whatever, whatever, whatever. Do you understand what I'm saying? And they begin to make some money they never had before. I don't begrudge that. But you know, that's the same thing that happens to lawmakers. I mean, you understand that psychology, right? It's the same exact thing that happens to lawmakers. Because people can't cut the money off. So how many people, when you finally look at stats and you finally look at results, and you got all these cast of characters out there, I'm doing this for free and I left my career to do it and I don't make anything. How do people get to 400, 500, or 600 cities? Well, this is how they do it. And nobody kind of audits backwards. But you begin to see when you can take 2,000 people, 3,000 people, it's probably over 5,000, by the way, literally, hang on, can literally and go to every city, and all they do is praise the guy that put them on the road, and he's the one that's right. Repeat the mantra, we're going to melt the machines into prison bars. Do you understand how that gets saturated? Now, nobody wants to walk away. Then it's combined with a different message. You know what the different message is? Then you don't have what it takes to be ethically and morally honest and say, I was tricked. Because you don't want to be on the side that said, fuck, I helped promote it. Now, this has been going on for a very long time, but not one of those persons technically is a whore bag. Not one of them. They just got sucked into a machine that does this. They just got sucked in to a machine. That's how this machine operates. Politicians do the same thing. That's the catch in every bit of this. Now, get ready. I adored Tina Peters. I adore Tina Peters. Okay? So few people can look back at that damn cyber op symposium and realize it was a setup. You never got PCAPs. One of the things goes out of a broad. What would, if the show is about PCAPs and we're going to show you where all the votes went and you can do them all, why does a guy on the air says, somebody said Tina's information was stolen and that's a crime and I'm not going to talk about it? That was to get that word out over the air. That was to give them cover for being innocent when they're the ones that actually did it. Now let's look at poor Tina. And I do it this way. Kuboto-san says it right. Tina endorses somebody for governor in Colorado, now for the GOP chair. So let's look at that one. That's another form of Stockholm Syndrome. Let me tell you why. Tina freaking goes to jail because of somebody's people. Tina's a hero, but she's a hero for the wrong reasons. She was set up from the beginning. They needed a hardcore red county. They needed to put something on the map, and they needed to put somebody in jail. That's it. That's it. Tina's not in on it. Tina is a victim. And right now, what Tina is doing is what's called Stockholm Syndrome, period. Let me tell you why. I met with Tina early on in Las Vegas when all this stuff was coming out and she had been exposed. And I told Tina, you got to clean this up. You're potentially in trouble. You don't understand what's coming. Then the legal stuff hits. I have Tina on. I'm trying to help her out. Everybody that was on that team that went around to America, oh, don't talk to Jovan. Don't do that. And they got control of her. They got control of her. All of them. Well, what happens with Tina? No real experts were invited. Nobody who could explain what happened was invited. It never became about what Tina did. It was only about Dominion machines, which is Mike Lindell's agenda. Those attorneys only covered that, not what Tina did. They never covered the people that really did it or misled Tina. They completely set her up. She goes to jail. But let me ask you a question. I'll pay your legal fees. I'll keep you out of jail. Be on Tina's side. She's in a shit world of hurt. They took her house. Her husband dies. They just do all this crap. We're going to pay your legal bills. Don't worry. We're going to keep you out of jail. Boom. She's in jail. Don't worry about it. We're going to get you free. We're going to have appeals. Are you going to cut those people off? Honest question. Is Tina going to cut those people off? Some of you people are very smart when you understand who's running this whole thing. Some of you are very smart. Some of you can now kind of see it. And you hit the nail on the head. But are you going to cut them off? You're not going to cut them off. Why? Because they're paying the legal bills to spring you. Raising all kinds of money to spring you. You don't really know where that money goes. You don't really maybe get a little cigarette money or gum money or whatever she does, but you understand what's happening? And so you're going to hang your hat on these people are going to get you out of jail. But when you look at what happened to Tina, the system knew what they were doing, and that's why they're not federal charges. That's why they're state charges. And you can't see it clearly, but you're sitting in jail, rotting away. And the very people that are, quote unquote, defending you, or the people that brought the people in that got your ass in jail to begin with, it's their team, but they're still defending you, raising money for you. Are you ever going to cut them off? No, you're not. Because they're your hope. They're your hope. And so why would Tina endorse somebody once for governor and then for the GOP chair of Colorado, where all these multi-billion-dollar lawsuits come from a BS claim? Because, well, if I'll talk to her once or twice a week, I'll call her. Well, that's just an investment in the link. That's an investment in the trial. I'm here for you. I'm here for you. She wants her names out there. She wants out. She's holding on to hope. That's why they'll do stuff like this. But this is why it's true. This is why people don't like the truth. I honestly did my best early on with Tina to try to help her out and try to understand it. But if you were ethically honest and moral, you would go back and wonder why all of a sudden this symposium pops up just before we're supposed to drop the full Arizona results. How did that happen? And it popped up, and we're going to show you all these results, and the lawmakers can come in and duplicate it. You see all this gibberish on a screen, and boom, then Tina's there who didn't want to be there. They make it about Tina and then say this was stolen, and then it becomes and it was all a con. You never got any PCAPs or anything. And then when Michael and Gail gets to court, he has to admit, well, they never had them. But everybody swears you saw fraud. You didn't see shit. You saw something that was made up on a website. On a website run by Dennis Montgomery, running a program on Dennis Montgomery's site. Put in what city you want it to start and where you want it to end, and we'll create fake PCAPs. And it did it. And it's there on the web for everybody to see. So how did it become about Tina when we're supposed to get PCAPs or whatever? Because it was the setup. 1 month before election, put an elected official in prison for 9 years. It was all a con. But when the same people telling you, I'm going to get you out of jail, we're going to raise money, get you out of, we're going to free you and stuff, yeah, you're going to endorse the shit out of those people. I don't blame Tina. But see, these people are creating lists, free Tina, free Tina, free Tina, free Tina. Does that list benefit Tina? Does Tina get to talk to that list? Is there anybody that's in charge with the fiduciary duty, right? To take care of Tina and make sure that you don't know anything. You just know everybody's freeing Tina and here's the fund. I'm not sure why people can't see this. And so in many ways, folks, you're seeing warfare on many levels. It's like, well, all of it, they just don't want you to talk about it. Don't talk about PCAPs. We're just not going to mention the Antifa underground call. We're going to run for governor. All of them. They're going to run for governor, run for office. That's not organic. It's like Kash says, when you're over the target, they attack the shit up. I'm not attacking. I'm telling you, audit them. I, of all people, understand attack. They put people on the road to go around hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of cities. And the only thing they told you is our system works. Donate to our fund. We're going to fix this. It's the machines. Dominion did it. Right? Our experts know how to happen. We've got the PCAPs, all false. Right? And, oh, by the way, make sure you don't pay attention to that full forensic audit. It's crap. And then you can't even bring yourself to hold yourself to a higher standard. You know why you can't bring yourself to hold it to a higher standard? Because you believe somebody who goes by a fake name, a coding monkey and a lone raccoon furry man that says, I met him and I looked at every one of my audit. He's great. He's the greatest there is. And this is genius. When Mike Lindell, even in court, says, no, he never had it. We never had him. But look how many people follow that mess and follow that raccoon out to the trash cans, where you belong and where it belongs, in the trash cans. Look at how many people have been caught up in this. The common denominator is bullshit, proof you can't understand that you can't see for yourself. So you have to trust the expert. And praise Jesus, praise Jesus. You don't have to fucking believe me. It's like we don't have to believe the election officials, right? Did you mail 84.13% of your ballots to the district that came back as mail-in ballots? Because they'll have a fold. You can't change that. It's undeniable. That's an official one, and all of them failed. Double digits failed. Then you go over to hand-folded. That's the walk-in crowd. That's going to be hand-folded because you get handed a flat ballot. You fold it yourself and mark it. Fucking every one of those fail. And then you've got the day of election where they're flat that says, well, this was election day. All of them fail, but ironically, they supersede the numbers and all of them backwash the back to make the numbers count. But see, the fold tells what really happened, and all of them were fake. This is the issue. You've been involved in this war too. They've shut you down too. These guys say, well, I peer reviewed. No, they don't. Or they'd come on, let's go through the peer review. This is my point. This has always been a war. You've always been involved. And Peaches, I think you did another 200. I missed it on the stream, but God bless you. God bless you. And then, mail-in ballots are bad. Early voting is bad. And then what does GOP push? Get in and bank your ballot. Don't you understand the con? This is not about sides. You're either for America or you're against America. And I've always told everybody, you don't have to like me, folks. A lot of people do not like me. I have a face and a voice that is like I'm a biker hiding out in a nerd's body, right? And I have a face that looks like I just want to fucking kick your ass and rip you apart. It's so different than what I am in real life with real people. But it's always been a war. It has always been a war. And it's had incredible casualties. And you're right. It's hard to trust anyone anymore. Kitty says, I fucking love you. I fucking love you back. It's hard to trust anybody. I am so down on my trust meter across the board. It's ridiculous. And I'm telling you, it's soul squashing. It's soul squashing. I can imagine what it is like for you, and you hear all these different voices and stuff, you people you follow. But for me, when I'm like right there at the top in the level and I see how this happened and who does it, man, it's fucking soul crushing. And they've tried everything. Jovan's Mossad. Jovan's a double agent. Jovan's fake. Jovan's this. Jovan didn't do this. Jovan didn't do that. It's never been about that. Audit me. Explain to me why an election in Maricopa County, now you're seeing Maricopa fall apart, runs in all the extra ballots a fucking month after the election. Or everything that's election day never hit the fucking machines. And then you see the rig. And then you can't even ask yourself, wait a minute, if it was the machines, does this mean the fucking machines have been running 16 months continuously, keep on adding these things? No, because it never was the machines. It's the paper. It's the voter rolls. People won't come on when I challenge them this. I'm not here to make friends. So many people don't have what it takes. I ask people, hey, you can moderate this with Dr. Frank, said he fucking peer reviewed my work. Somehow he peer reviewed my work even before we started the audit. I don't know how the fuck you do that, but okay. But why won't they come on and discuss it? They'll yell and scream to try to control the conversation. We had that happen one time. I don't let that happen. Stay on topic. Let's go. It's because they have nothing. It's because it is nothing. It's new people's career. I so want to be out of audit election stuff. I cannot fucking tell you how bad I want to be out of it. I did one job, Maricopa. That's the one job I'm going to do. I'm going to do it perfectly to the end, and that's it. Right? Some of you say, I can't even get my local Republican Party to talk about things that really matter. Here's why. Because they don't know. And two, I'm the East Jesus Junction, Utah GOP chair. like it's some fucking title. And on top of it, all this work I've done, Chet's got it right. I'm a Jew. Do you know how fucking tiring it is to be one of so few people, and we've got to fucking control 189 other fucking countries in the world? Do you know how tiring that is to do? Because, you know, we control everything. We control governments and the people and the media and we fucking control everything. Do you know how tired I am having to do this and control the entire world at the same time because I'm a Jew? Don't worry, I'm going to rinse your palate. Here's where your job got replaced by a robot. Check this out. This is overseas where they've got number one, I'll tell you a little bit of story. You see these big wild boars, German areas and stuff, right? My father, God rest his soul, my father was a military sharpshooter. I didn't get to hunt a deer as a kid. I started hunting very early, but I didn't get to hunt a deer until I could take my father's M1 carbine and I would fire down from the deer blind, Texas deer blind, into a 5-gallon bucket. And I had to fire 6 rounds. And there better only be one hole in the front of the bucket. I kid you not. And then we could hunt. So I learned very early on how to take that open sight gun. Of course, the hole got a little bit bigger on the front, but punch it, right? Etc. America remains. Have I ever said that? I might not have ever said that. Anyway, hole about yay big, have all the holes on the back. Finally, I could hunt. Well, my dad was a military sharpshooter, besides being military police. And so what happens, and yes, hunting, driving starts at birth. You learn to drive a tractor first, just like I did. One of his assignments he had to do in Germany was dealing with these wild boars. He'd get sent around Europe because these wild boars, which when you see this, you've got to understand these are about twice the size of even a big dog. We're talking Great Dane bigger. These things are killers if they get a hold of you. They will freaking rip you apart. And my father's job was go to take these out. I got a picture of them. I'll see if I can pull it up somewhere. I'll do it in another program. But these boars were coming through the town. He got called in. These things are mean. And he pumped several bullets into this one. And he's getting down thinking it's dead. But ironically, it hit the tusk, knocked it out. This thing comes up, makes it around, hits him in the knee, rips out the side of his calf. It's coming back around because they'll make a big circle. And finally, he shot it and killed it. And you can see him, his buddies take a photo of it. He's reaching out. He's busted wide open for reaching out, touching this hog. These things are yearling calves, year-old calves size. And so what they've done in this town, because they'll rip up a person quickly, and they'll eat you if they get a chance. This is a robot whose job is to chase off the boars. Look at their scale against him running away. But still look how big they are in the distance. They're as tall as the security stanchion. Fucking A! Yes, the robot's job is to run them off. Boars are a big deal. And so the way they've decided to use one of these robots successfully is to get them out because it freaks out the boar, but somebody's not going to get killed. With a human, that boar wouldn't run. And you have to understand, you have these wild boars all over the South, right? The backpack is a lot of the battery and telemetry stuff. You can't build it into the, right? You can't build it into the exoskeleton because it takes up too much room. So they'll put it on a backpack for counterbalance. It also, you saw them going up curbs and stuff. They've learned to put a backpack to counterbalance because it can adjust reading that, right? Anyway, boars, not only will that mama have 12 to 20 babies at a time, every single time, they are literally just not afraid of people. And that's the one thing, Texas or whatever, is you just do not want to run up on the wild hogs and the boars and stuff down in the valley and the marshlands and the, river flood zones and stuff. They will rip your ass apart. And if they get you and they get you down, if one of them gets you and hooks you, get you down, you ain't getting back up because they will swarm you and they will fucking eat you. I kid you not. And we have a very big problem in the United States with hogs. They'll go in, as soon as you plant crops, they'll root up the entire field. Nothing will grow. And it's you just have to deal with it. You just have to deal with it. And unfortunately, you have to exterminate them. Now, they've been pretty feral. You got to understand the feral nature that comes from them in Texas is when the conquistadors come through. And you got to try to wipe out as many of them as you can. We're talking there's hundreds of thousands of them. Though if they can get upon a baby deer, they'll eat it. Rabbits, they find the nest, they'll eat the baby bunnies. They're wildly destructive. So my son, Barron, I guess he killed his first one. He might have been 6 or 7. 6. And we had trapped a bunch of the boars, right? Because I didn't want them to go to waste. If you can trap them, it's better because we can trap them. We get to the same place, but we trap them. They're actually very healthy food. They're much healthier than a factory raised pig. They're eating acorns and grass and whatever. And so we would trap them. Then we would, of course, kill them. And then we pay to have them butchered. And then we get all the food to the food banks. It's a good way just to supply food. Well, my son, and when he killed his first one, it happened to be one we trapped. And so I'm going to let him shoot it. And of course, he shoots it, hits it, right between the eyes and dispatches it like it should be. And of course, we get it out and we're, beginning the gutting process because you got to field dress them and stuff. We're gutting them and whatever. They're grass fed, acorn fed, etc. And my poor boy, we finally get to his pig. It's probably 2 hours later. And he has fashioned crosses. I kid you not. He had fashioned crosses, pulling bark and tying crosses, and he had made all these crosses laid across the pig in his little mind because he realized he took its life. And he was, I guess, he said, I'm just trying to say I'm sorry. I know we had to do it, but. And little guy manufactured crosses and laid it all over the hogs' bodies. Yes, they used to pay you to hunt coyotes. It's no longer funded. We had to deal with coyotes a couple of months back. We bring in a team with night vision, waiting for them to come to the stocks, and took out 20. But you have to do it or you're going to lose every bit of livestock you have. Right? Etc. But what a sweet soul. Yeah, I had crosses all over them. Anyway, I want to leave you. Where is this? I want to leave you with something good to wash your palate regarding this program. And I just thought this was the greatest. And it's this time of year. By the way, I want to let you know, I told you that I ventured into raising turkeys. Hang on. I want to show you what I like, but I'd never officially at any of the family properties raised turkeys. And so I got my first step. I'm gonna tell you from my failure, right? I got my first set, and I was pretty picky, and I only wanted what was called bourbon reds. Now, there's all kinds of turkeys. All kinds of turkeys. And there's a lot of wild turkeys, right? We have wild turkeys everywhere. They'll come in herds of 20, 30, 40, right? But I wanted to raise my own turkeys. And I decided what I wanted was bourbon heritage red. These are very old breed of turkeys, and they're specifically red. So this is a heritage bourbon red, right? And I got my guy and got my girl, and you know, you're raising. I'm gonna try my hand at raising turkeys, right? Well, I thought it would be just like anything with geese. So you raise geese and other things. You know, your geese are also guard dogs. Most people don't know that, and most people don't know that geese actually protect all your ducks. Geese have incredible eyes, and so when the hawks or eagles come through, they'll do it, and they will herd your ducks into the woods to get them away from the hawks and eagles. So geese are pretty phenomenal, and turkeys will do the same thing too. And turkeys are like dogs when they get to, you know, they'll just follow you everywhere. They want to learn. They're incredibly smart. They do some dumb things, but they're incredibly smart. But this is a bourbon red, and this is what the female looks like. Now, the guy, did I say dude? Slap me in the head. Anyway, here's a female. And if you were ever looking at a turkey and you see his little penis cone on the scalp that goes down, or you see the red, that means they're comfortable, right? And they're dominating over the territory. If you see, because those change colors, their head changes color from white to blues or whatever the case may be, right? But the other day, I got to looking at the hen who'd been really excited setting on the nest. And I was doing stuff in the gardens. I had kept them very, very, very large, enclosed, raised bed garden area. Just, you know, you get them acclimated to the land. You don't just let them go. They got to understand and get their bearings first. And so I was so impressed. This young hen was just sitting there, both of them young, right? A guy who had just found out what his winker was for, never used it before me, you know, our place. And then the female, and boy, that female, the most incredible little mama ever got on their eggs. But I learned the hard way, and I'm going to share this with you because I consider myself a smart guy, and I assumed I knew everything about them, and I didn't. And let me tell you why. When you have a young male, maybe you can resonate with this. When you have a young male and they go to breeding, all they care about is humping. Okay? Sound familiar? So the young guy, when he finally gets women and he finally gets himself a piece, all he cares about is humping. So I got the sweet little hen, and she's got this little nest and stuff and whatever, kind of in a corner. She's made her nest. Well, the male doesn't know that she's nesting. He hasn't learned yet. Now, it's a really interesting ritual that the male turkey, kind of like ducks, climbs up onto the back of the female. He'll stand on her. The female will raise her rear end, and what he'll do is, see those feathers, how they drop down? He will cloak her completely. You can't even see her. Debbie says, it sounds like me. Debbie, just because I put a blindfold on you, that was just for fun. Well, we did, you know, well, come on. Don't film me for that. Anyway, so he cloaked her, and he's doing his thing. And I thought it was kind of weird that she was on the nest and he's humping her, but damn if I didn't go out the other day and I kind of look and I can see her wings, kind of an odd thing. He fucked her to death. He got her somehow in the corner and she tried to get away. He doesn't know she's nesting. He climbed on her, got her head backwards, and basically he snapped her neck and fucked her to death. And I had no idea this was even possible. I mean, it sounds like a man's dream. I just want to be fucked to death. Well, he fucked her to death. So it's kind of sad, but the lesson I learned, because I'd never ventured into this, and I want to pass this on to you, this is why they're sold in trios, at least, and you should probably get 3 hens to 1 male. I only got 2 because they were the only 2 they had, and they're very hard to learn, and I didn't know this. And so my male, who's a great guy, fucked his wife to death. She had been dead for a little too long. I should have ate her, but I didn't eat her only because I don't know exactly when she died. But isn't it weird? Yeah, he humped her to death. And so just a little bit of advice that I did not know. I don't know how I missed that. I took it for granted that, okay, she's sitting on the eggs and he'll be fine. But this little guy's pecker got in the way. It was so sad. So just disheartening to have to deal with. And now I'm on a scramble trying to find a bourbon red breedable male. And even though she had several eggs under her, it evidently had happened the night before and it got really cold. And a lot of the eggs weren't viable. So I might have to start again. But isn't that nuts? So there really is a thing, is getting humped to death. I had not known that. But I want to share you with something that's great in the animal world that's absolutely beautiful. And damn it, with my screen locked up on that. Hang on. Right? I didn't eat the eggs. Didn't eat the eggs. The eggs can be scrambled and they're great, just like goose eggs or just like duck eggs. But right now at this time of year, it's about getting new stock and doing new stock. Let me see if I can get back to my media changing. I'm kind of do a forced thing here. No, I can't. I'm going to reset my screen. Hang on. I want you to watch this. Hang on. I'll glitch for a minute. Hang on. I don't know why that happens, but it does. Must be some kink in the dashboard system. But I want to show you something. Thank you for hanging in. I want to show you something I just think you'll appreciate. And it's usually this time of year, any of you involved in farming or ranching or whatever, if you've never been around in spring, yeah, maybe I need to name them Diddy now. If you've never been around in spring, things hatching and birthing and calving and everything else truly is a beautiful thing. I want to show you something that I found just totally beautiful that you might not have ever seen before. Check this out.
See your babies, Ozzy. Can you show me? Ozzy, show me your babies. Let's see. Ozzy, show
Female emu. It's a ray. Female emu.
babies, Ozzy. Ozzy, let's see. Let's see. Show us. Ozzy! Oh my gosh, Ozzy, they're so beautiful. Wow. Oh my goodness, good job, buddy. Okay, thank you, Ozzy. Thank you for showing us. That was so nice of you.
Is that not awesome? It's kind of a magical thing. I think about it all the time. I've got eggs in the incubator at the moment, right? And I didn't want certain goose eggs because cold weather spoiling. So you have to rotate them 3 times in the incubator because the goose egg, most incubators can't handle them. And you rotate them. And I think about those things. And I just think about even the fact that they come from an egg is a miracle. Right? Even the fact that things hatch from an egg, and you never think about it. And for me, it's just, I think about God when I look at it, to have that great perfection come out of an egg. But when you're looking through a little light to see if the eggs are good, and by the way, Tony Ray, thank you. Tone Ray, thank you so much for that generous tip. Thank you, thank you, thank you. It all goes to election integrity. But even when you look at the egg and you look through the light to see if they're still good, because if you've got bad ones in the incubator, they'll explode. And let me tell you, exploding eggs, nastiest shit in the world. But even in the bottom of the egg, it literally leaves an air pocket, which is really interesting because when they get ready to hatch, they have their kind of like built-in air tank, scuba tank. Isn't that wild? They have their built-in air tank. And by the way, somebody asked, yes, I lost my turkey. I could have put those turkey eggs under this one sitting mama duck. She's a great mama duck. She hatches everything. But as soon as they hatch, she fucking abandons them. And so she'll lead them off into creeks and shit, and the turtles will get them, right? But she's a great hatcher. I could have stuck them under the mama duck. But then you got another problem on the farm, that if you let a duck hatch the turkey eggs, the first thing she does with the hatchling is take them to the pond. And the little turkey babies would have gone willingly, and they would have walked them into the pond and drowned the little turkeys. So I couldn't let that happen. So it's kind of a nuts. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that. It's really beautiful stuff. And I want you to remember, when you see these guys on the street, let me play this one little video. Maybe it'll be an air word for you.
Deport the fucking lot. Deport the fucking lot. If they're men, send them back. We haven't got room, we can't keep track. Deport the fucking lot. Deport the fucking lot. Keep them off our shores, send them back to fight their wars. Deport the fucking lot. Deport the fucking lot. They rape, they lie, them want to stay, but we don't agree with it, so send them all away. Deport the fucking lot. Deport the fucking lot. Deport the fucking lot. Deport the fucking lot.
Rennie Good was a gifted soul, a writer and a poet and a mother, wow. She tried to hit an agent with her car, oh no. Pop, motherfucker, now she's gone. Yeah. Being a fucking liberal is a mental disease. Blue-haired fuckables with the septum ring. You are not a hero, you're a fucking disease. You fuck around and find out it's what it is. Jeffrey Pretty was a Jewish homo. Started talking shit to protect a chomo. He was getting nicked when he pulled a gun. Bam, motherfucker, now you're gone. Being a fucking liberal is a mental disease. Blue-haired fuckables with the septum ring. You are not a hero, you're a fucking disease. Fuck around and find out what that is.
Not fixing 2020 will damn our nation forever. The historic Maricopa County full forensic audit effort processed 20,895,610 digital and forensic images of varying formats, resulted in 208 million individual evidence-proof files. The system processed over 58 billion forensic measurements, resulting in over 2 trillion individual base computations. No hopium, no hype, just hardcore forensic evidence. Please make sure the Maricopa County Full Forensic Audit Archives survive. Donate now So if you want what happened in the 2020 election fixed, then please donate to protect and secure this historic evidence.
You fight for free and fair elections, invent and scan the ballots of kinematic artifact detection. You love to read and learn, travel and explore. You're a fearless, braveheart patriot who's opened doors. You are courage, you're our voice. Jovan, we thank you for what you're fighting for. You're our warrior. You are brave like a lion. You're David fighting Goliath, couldn't ask for more. You're our warrior. Think of what you've done for you, for me, for our country. You'll go down in history as our warrior. You lead by God and always do what's right. In the battle for our nation, you lead the fight. We pray for your safety, the armor of God to protect you from all of us. Here's a thank you for all that you do. You are courage, you're our voice. Jovan, we thank you for what you're fighting for. You're our warrior. You are brave like a lion. You're David fighting Goliath, couldn't ask for more. You're our warrior. Think of what you've done for you, for me, for our country. You'll go down in history as our warrior. Jovan, you're a hero we stand behind. We're inspired by the fire inside your eyes. American proud, we know you'll fight till your dying day. And we'll always stand behind you through everything. You are courage, you're our voice. Jovan, we thank you for what you're fighting for. You're our warrior. You are brave like a lion. You're David fighting Goliath, couldn't ask for more. You're our warrior. Think of what you've done for you, for me, for our country. You'll go down in history as our